Good Friday morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by the Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Joe Everett. Well, currently 45 degrees outside here at the farm this morning, and yesterday we did receive just a tiny bit of rain, about 0.04 in the gauge. And of course, that rain came in right when we were trying to take the kids trick-or-treating last night. But one of the positive things about living out in the country is we didn't have to worry about getting too wet because for us to go trick-or-treating, we have to drive from house to house. Now looking at the calendar, Tuesday we will hear from Farm Credit Mid-America about the importance of year-end planning. Then next week, Dale visits with Hardin County farmer Shane Kellogg. Some of you might know him from the truck pulling world for an update on biodiesel performance. Looking at some of your agricultural news headlines, harvest crop insurance prices fall below spring guarantees. The average daily close of the December corn futures contract was $4.16 during October, while the November soybean contract was $10 per bushel. The averages are an important piece of the price discovery that underpins many crop insurance policies, which use the higher of either the harvest price or the spring projected price to calculate indemnity payments. The projected prices are the average of the new crop futures contracts closes during February. They came in at $4.66 per bushel for corn and $11.55 per bushel for soybeans. DTN lead analyst Rhett Montgomery says break-even prices per the USDA crop budgets for the 2024 are estimated to be $4.78 on corn and $11.70 on the soybeans. Now let's check in with Dusty Sonnenberg for this week's Fall Agronomy Update.
I'm joined today for the Pioneer Fall Agronomy Update by Kyle Poling, field agronomist. And Kyle, as we take a look at harvest rolling along, some conversations out there about the edge effects, and maybe a little bit different than some of the conventional thought.
Every year, Dusty, is filled with opportunity to diagnose field variability. I've taken a handful of calls this year from growers saying the edge or the first 24 to 30 rows of a cornfield seems to be tracking significantly lower than the center of the field. Specifically, it's next to soybean fields, could be a road ditch or a grass waterway. They don't see the drop off when it's next corn. With the dry weather that we had this summer, it really comes down to a microclimate in that part of the field. A cornfield or a corn plant cools itself in a process known as transpiration. So that corn plant, it releases water vapor to cool itself, much as we do as humans in sweat. And when you think about dry, hot air coming into a field, those first few rows are really going to feel the brunt of that dry, hot air passing through the field. They don't have the neighboring corn plants in which to help them lower that temperature. And so really what we're seeing anywhere from 25 to 30, even up to 60 or 70 bushel decrease along those field edges. Typically, it's the edges that are on the southern or western side of the field where our predominant winds come from.
This has been your Pioneer Fall Agronomy Update. My guest again today, Kyle Poling, field agronomist. To hear the full interview, visit ohioagnet.com and click on featured audio.
Hey, thanks, Dusty. Well, H5N1 has been found in an Oregon backyard hog farm. The National Pork Producers Council confirms that there are no food safety concerns about the nation's pork supply after H5N1 was detected this week in an Oregon backyard farm. The National Pork Producers Council continues to work closely with the USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, veterinary services, and pork industry stakeholders on disease surveillance programs. The confirmed cases in Oregon poses no threat to consumer health or food safety as properly handled and cooked pork products remain safe for consumption, says Brian Humphreys, National Pork Producers Council CEO. The entire pork industry remains committed to safeguarding food safety and human and animal health. With rigorous on-farm biosecurity programs in place, the pork industry has worked alongside the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service since 2009 to carry out swine influenza surveillance programs to identify viruses that are circulating in swine. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at today's weather after this.
Soybeans grown in Ohio and across the heartland are meeting the feedstock demand for clean fuels. Biodiesel is a clean-burning and reliable fuel that enhances engine life, power, and mileage. Plus, this high-performance fuel works in any diesel engine without modification. With biodiesel, we fuel the economy, do good for the environment, and support soybean farmers. Learn how using biodiesel can add value to every bushel of soybeans grown at soyohio.org.
Since 1926, Nationwide has been rooted in agriculture. Founded as the Farm Bureau Mutual Automobile Insurance Company with a mission to protect farmers and their communities, we honor our legacy by offering solutions that evolve with the complex needs of today's farms. As the leading insurer of America's farms and trusted by 8 farm bureaus for 100 years and counting, Nationwide is on your side. Number 1 insurer based on 2023 direct written premium per AM Best. Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
Now let's check out today's weather, and as we head into the weekend, brought to us by Seat Consultants. Simply better performance online at seatconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Moisture trying to work into the region again over the late weekend. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio forecast update. We had a little primer yesterday. Scattered showers moved through the state. We ended up with decent precip and coverage. But after 2 days of dryness, today and tomorrow, we're going to have moisture coming back to Ohio. And this time it's a bigger round of moisture. Here's what we've got going on. High pressure is close by today and tomorrow. That should give us decent sunshine, a little bit cool today, warmer tomorrow. Both temperatures, though, are well above where we normally should be in early November. Then the moisture shows up probably midday to afternoon on Sunday, continues through Monday, Tuesday, and into early Wednesday. I think a big range of a half to maybe 2 inches is warranted across Ohio. I truly believe, though, that the only way we get into that 1 to 2 inch part of the rain range will be with thunderstorms, and I don't see a lot of those as of right now. So I think most of us are going to be an inch or less. A nice rain here, especially when you put it back with what we picked up yesterday. And I do think that we go right back to relatively dry weather behind it. Wednesday afternoon, we are partly to mostly sunny. We have high pressure settling in for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of next week. So strong evaporation. Temperatures a little bit cool, but still, when you put them to where we should be in early November, we are not cold by any stretch of the imagination. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Well, the final U.S. Drought Monitor for October records record or near-record drought coverage in the lower 48 states. Rod Bain from the U.S. Department of Agriculture has more.
Through the month of October,
incredible drought expansion and intensification across just about every corner of the United States,
which USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey says culminates in the final U.S. Drought Monitor for October.
We are into rare territory, in fact, unprecedented territory if you include the abnormal dryness.
With 87.2% of the nation experiencing drought or abnormal dryness for the period ending October 29th, a new record. Within the drought categories D1 through 4, over 54% of the lower 48 states are in drought, a well over 22% increase from the start of October.
54.1% of the country in drought. That does not set an all-time record. We have seen higher totals of overall drought coverage.
Those occurring in the drought years of 2012 and 2022. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Hey, thanks, Rod. Well, Ohio farmers have been faced with significant stress in 2024 due to drought, rising costs, and unstable market prices, leading to heightened concerns over mental health. Ty Higgins from the Ohio Farm Bureau notes an unprecedented rise in stress levels and a gradual reduction in the stigma surrounding mental health within the agricultural community. A survey by the Ohio Agricultural Mental Health Alliance, conducted by the Ohio State's College of Food, Agriculture, and Environmental Sciences, highlighted primary stressors are the cost of farm inputs, land, and market prices. Survey results showed that while 75% of farmers rated their mental health positively, 23% reported poor well-being, and 10% faced significant disruptions due to mental health changes. The survey revealed barriers to seek help, including time constraints, cost, and the doubts about relevant support. Almost half the respondents needed mental health services, but often did not receive adequate care. Loneliness was also prevalent, with 50% experiencing it and 1 out of 5 often feeling isolated. The Alliance aims to use these findings to address mental health barriers and provide resources for Ohio's rural communities. To learn more, you can find this full article at ohioagnet.com. Well, despite market headwinds, land values continue to be strong, especially in the Midwest. Paul Shadegg is the Senior Vice President of Farm and Ranch Management and Real Estate for Farmers National Company and says farmers continue to make up about 75% of the farmland buyers.
The producer is looking at it from a standpoint of trying to build his operation to scale so it makes sense with the equipment investment that he's got. There's a certain amount of emotion, legacy involved with that. And producers are the ones that typically have that strong connection to the land. And so that can drive their interest or their motivation to buy land.
Investors, however, have a different motivation.
The investors are looking at more of a what can bring me an ROI, what can help me diversify my investment portfolio. But they've also seen over the past, if we look over the past, I can go back 40, 50 years, but especially the last 25 years, that steady appreciation in land value. Some of those investors look back across that thinking, wow, we kind of missed the boat here. We should have invested 25 years ago. But they also see the fact that there's not going to be much more land developed. In fact, we're losing land as we go along.
He also says it comes back to economics 101.
There's just simply more buyers, willing buyers than there are willing sellers out there. And as an industry, we've seen about a 25% decrease in land offered for sale over the past couple of years. And that continues to be the trend.
That was Paul Shadag, who is the Senior Vice President at Farmers National Company. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at the grain analysis and your overnight markets after this.
AmeriHealth Caritas Ohio is your Medicaid plan for more benefits, more rewards. We know that good health means more than just seeing a doctor when you're sick. Eligible members can receive extras like home-delivered meals and family essentials, like baby carriers and kids' school supplies. Members can even earn rewards for playing mobile health trivia games. Learn more at AmeriHealthCaritasoh.com and call the Ohio Medicaid Consumer Hotline at 1-800-324-8680 to choose AmeriHealth Caritas Ohio.
It's now time for the Louis Dreyfus Grain Analysis, and that's brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished mixed on Thursday, weaker in the wheat complex. Corn and beans did manage to get into positive territory on the day. However, we finished well off of the highs overall. The market saw its biggest move early on in the trading session, falling off as toward the midday hours and definitely into the close. We did have a flash reported sale, 150,000 metric tons of soy meal to unknown destinations. That did offset a few bearish chart patterns that were in the soy complex from earlier in the week. Additionally, Algeria has put out a wheat tender for this week. Slowly, the results of that getting back into the marketplace, a purchase of nearly 500,000 metric tons, estimated to come in at about $263 a metric ton. Why is that interesting and of note? Remember, we had been hearing rumors through the marketplace that Russia was willing to sell well under $250. Apparently, those aren't really coming to the table, so that kind of resets the wheat market just a little bit. However, with still the crop conditions the way they are and the export demand, we did not see wheat bounce back very much on Thursday. Trying to see if we can follow through with any strength going into the Friday time frame here. Weekly export sales for the week ending the 25th included 92 million bushels of corn, 142 the previous week, so not as strong or as robust of a week. 29 million bushels a week ago. Majority of the week's business was already known because of those flash reported sales. Soy sales, 84 million bushels versus 79 last week and 37 million the same week a week ago. China, on a known basis, was responsible for at least 26 million of those. Unknown was another big chunk. For the marketing years to date, exporters are sold corn up to about 41% above last year, 44% of USDA's annual forecast. And we're also seeing soybeans up 14% year on year, wheat up 19% overall. Weather continues to look fairly promising for growth and development, although a large part of the country is still very dry on the drought monitor. I'm Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Now let's take a look at your overnight markets, brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. December corn 412 up 1 1/4. March corn 427 1/4 up 1 1/4. Nice gain for soybeans. November soybeans 993 up 10 1/2. January soybeans 1004 1/2 up 10. December wheat 573 3/4 up 3 1/4. Looking at livestock from yesterday's close, October live cattle 193 up $4.60. December live cattle 186.30 down 12 cents. December lean hogs 83.80 down 57 cents. February lean hogs 85.20 down 50 cents. November feeder cattle 245.37 down 12 cents, and January feeder cattle $241.32, down 65 cents. Have a great day, everyone. I'm Joe Everett, and you're listening to the Ohio AgNet.